Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I thought I would come and do a intuitive watercolor today. I have my Mozart Kohlrabi palette and that inexpensive, I think it's pronounced Fi-Yes paper, and I've got some tape on it on my little clipboard so that I can keep it flat. And I'm just going to go in and wet everything down. I'm going to work straight from the pan today with some colors and just do a little bit of intuitive painting. So I wanted to work with watercolor, but this may end up being a bit of a mixed media piece. We'll just kind of see how things go. And I'm just going to play around with some color. I think I want to do some reds, oranges, maybe purple. And so then we'll go from there. So I'm going to go into this color here. It's cerise, I think. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. But I'm just going to get color right on my paper. I'm just going to make some interesting marks and just go anywhere my brush kind of wants to. So I'm going to dip into the carmine now, which is another beautiful color. The colors in this palette really do a great job just spreading out and being their beautiful selves. And so I'm just going to keep doing some of these shapes. I'm going to go over some of the areas where I already had color. Now I'm going to go into this hyacinth violet, which is another really gorgeous color. And like I said, I'm going straight from the pan, getting some rich color on here. And then I'm going to go back to that cerise color. And just get it in here and get my whole page covered with paint. And I might do a little bit of tilting, but we'll see. All right, got some decent coverage here. Now I think what I'm going to do is rinse my brush and grab my alcohol. This is my alcohol spray. I'm just going to give it a couple of sprays from sort of far back, maybe about 12 inches away from the paper or so. And we'll get ourselves a little bit of texture there. And I might take out my lid and do a few other sort of larger dots here. Just like this. And I'm not going to do them all over. I'm kind of concentrating them in a couple of spots. And we're just going to have some fun with color. Okay, I'm going to bring my brush back in, and I think I'm going to go into the carmine and get kind of a wet mix. I'm going to drop some drops of carmine in here also over top of that alcohol. Looks like we've got a pretty nice little galaxy going on. And you know what? I may go into my Payne's Gray just to get a bit of a contrasting color and do a few little splashes of that also. Just like that. Not too much. And just add a little bit of darkness there. Now, I want to use something that I don't really use very often, and I'm not sure I've ever used it on a video, but I've got these Mars Lumograph Aquarelle pencils. So these are water soluble graphite. I've got a 4, 6, and 8B. So the 8B would be the darkest or softest. I think I'm just going to go right in the middle for that 6B and do just a little bit of doodling on my paper while my paint is still wet, and it will just go down nicely in the paint. And I don't know if it'll really spread out, but we'll just see. We'll do a little bit of experimenting. kind of like these shapes here. And I'm just really doodling and just having some fun with the pencil. Maybe I'll have one coming out here from the side. Like that. And then maybe one here. Yeah, I like that. And maybe I'll do just some little circles here. And I'm going to grab my spray bottle and just get these a bit more activated. And that way when I draw on it, it'll be a little bit darker. And I might get some cauliflowering and stuff, and that's fine with me. And I'm going to put a few more over here. Just like that. And maybe I'll put some dots. The nice thing about these pencils is you can draw right in the wet paint, so I don't even have to wait for anything to dry. And it leaves a nice dark mark. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to end up doing on here at the end, but for right now, this works for me. All right, I'm going to put my pencil aside, and I'm going to drop some more alcohol in here. So this has had a bit of a chance to dry, but it's still damp, and so I can still get some of those effects. And I'm just kind of, I might put a few dots where I have my circles and just see how that works. And get some interesting marks. And I think last but not least, I'm going to add a few little splashes of just plain water. Some parts might be a little bit too dry, but water has kind of a similar effect as salt, but without all the residue. So we'll see if anything happens there, any cauliflowering, and I am going to set this aside and let it dry. All right, I'm back and I grabbed my smaller quill brush, and I'm going to grab some more of that Payne's Gray, and I'm going to do a little bit of negative painting with some watery Payne's Gray around these little twigs that I did. And I'm going to go over these bubbles a bit, but what I'm going to do is try to make kind of a watery blend, and then I'm going to put some more alcohol over the top of it to make it get nice and textured. And actually, I'm just gonna go over this whole thing just like this. Now I'm gonna dip my brush in some water and drag this out a bit, and then grab my alcohol before it dries and get some more marks on there, just like that. And I'm going to work in kind of small sections, that way it's not going to dry while I am, trying to paint the rest of it. So I'm just going to come in here, get this nice and wet. And then again, add some more alcohol. And I love how it kind of falls back and lets you see more of that pink from underneath. And then I'm going to rinse well and let that come out. Now I'm going to break out my sprayer part and give it a bit of a spray so that we get some finer texture there. I'm going back over with my darker pencil. And I think I'm going to sort of expand this one a bit so that it gets a little bit higher. Just like that. I'm going to go around just a couple of these little areas where we have some of the larger alcohol marks and add some darkness here. Okay, I'm back and we are all dry, and I grabbed my black painter's marker. This is the medium tip, and I think what I'm going to do is do a little bit of a tree silhouette, and I kind of want it to come right up here around and just kind of come out. And so I'm going to do the outline first, and I'm going to have it come down and around right there, and then have my trunk right here. And then for this side, I'm going to have it come right up through here. Now, that's going to be sort of the main outline of my tree. Now I'm going to start bringing in some branches. And they can just go any which way. And we'll just get that basic shape done. Just like this. And so I'm going to have things coming into the trunk, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting my tree shape in just the way I want it first. And then I can work on making my branches thicker or doing anything I want. And so I'm going to have this kind of crossing over in some spots. I want to make it as organic as I can and not too busy. And I think that works pretty nice. Okay, so now I'm going to work on thickening up some of these branches closer and then solidifying that trunk. And so I'm just going to work slowly. And make sure I get exactly what I want. Okay, I think that's the basic shape I want. I'm just going to fill this in real quick. I've used this marker so much, it's like running out of ink or paint, but I still love that silhouette. So now I'm going to just retrace over a couple of these branches so that it doesn't look like, it's just thick right here and that's it. So I'm just going to thicken up a few of these where they might naturally be thicker branches, and then have them sort of organically come to a finer point. And that way it'll look a little bit more natural. But I really enjoy making trees. I might have a couple of these kind of stay a little bit thicker, even out toward the end of the paper. Just like that. And I think this looks pretty good. Maybe I'll have one more coming up here. I like that. And maybe one more with a couple of branches coming that way. All right. Now I'm going to grab my jelly roll, my white one, and I'm going to go over a couple of these other circles where we had the texture kind of left from either alcohol or from that pencil. And I'm just going to go over a few of these where they kind of pop out at me. Because I really like just having a little bit of elements kind of going on in the background and a little bit more contrast, because this is kind of a medium to dark valued painting. So adding a little bit of brightness back into it is something that I'd really like to do. And I'm going to have a couple maybe coming in from the side. I might kind of make up some spots where we have, you know, some of these circles where there wasn't necessarily any alcohol. Just like that. And I'm just going to add a few little dots. I never know if this is going to work for me or not. Sometimes these pens get so picky over watercolor and it just absorbs right in. All right, I really like this so far, and I'm not sure if I want to add anything else or not. I really love how it turned out. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I really like this just as is. So I think we are done here today, but we used paint markers, a pen, we used water-soluble graphite, and we used our watercolor, and I really love how this turned out. So I'm going to take off my tape and then give you the close-up of the finished painting. Taking off the tape is my favorite part. All right. Actually, one more thing, if you have a second. I'm going to go into this palette, into this purple metallic, and I'm going to activate it with my brush. I just got a wet brush, And I think we need a little bit of sparkle on this. So I'm just going to get a good brush load of this purple, and I'm going to drop in some metallic purple. And you're not really going to be able to see it too much on the painting, but there will be some sparkle on the page because there's not going to be a lot of contrast here. But we can add just a couple of pops. Just like that. Maybe a few of these leaves. And you can't really see the color, but you will be able to see the sparkle. All right, let's do the close-up. I really love how this turned out, and you can see that metallic shining. Now it's still kind of wet, but it has a really nice little sparkle. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep creating. Have a great day.